does one
Okay.
play with a backing track, or maybe some tips on how you would play with a backing track to improve your guitar skill?
Yeah. So I mean, the basic thing about playing with a backing track is I'll say the extreme basics that are must-haves, and then I'll make some suggestions. Okay. So first of all, what is playing with a backing track? It literally just means playing while you're making something up, right? Or you're practicing when there's music in the background. That's it. A backing track is just a track in the background that usually you can just hit play. It's a pre-recorded track. You don't need another person. If you have another person, great. That's what we call jamming. But if you have a backing track, you can just hit play and you can do whatever you want on the guitar neck, right? The first requirement is that whenever you're playing with a backing track, you need to make sure that whatever it is that you're playing on the guitar matches the key of the backing track. Why? Because when you play the right notes with the backing track, it's just going to sound good, or at least the notes will be right. It'll be a lot easier to make it sound good, right? Now, what do you do with a backing track? Well, assuming you can find the right key, assuming you know how to know where to play on the fretboard to be in the right key as the backing track, maybe you have a scale pattern, for example, that you're playing with. What do you do with that? So it depends on what your goal is on the guitar. If you want to be able to improvise, usually most people use backing tracks for improvisation, to be able to just play some musical ideas, practice a particular scale. Maybe one of the things that you can do is actually start out with a sound in the background or a backing track and practice the actual scale so you hear the sound of the notes in the right key, in the right scale, in the right context. And then you can move on to try to start improvising a little bit, to try to start making up your own little musical phrases, statements, or whatever it is that you would communicate through music. That's really the point. Like, that's all it is. At the highest level, in fact, Pat Metheny said this, at its best, music is like a great conversation with an old friend. And that's what it's about. So if you, at the highest level of playing with backing tracks, let's say you have progressed through the idea of knowing where the right key is, like where to play to hit the right notes, and then you maybe practice a scale or something with the backing track, and then you start to improvise, and then you keep going. And then at the highest level, just like Pat Metheny said, really all you're doing is just playing along with the backing track. You're hearing a track, you're in a conversation with whatever the musicians are playing, and you're also joining the conversation with whatever you want to say. It's your musical opinion on the guitar. That's what improvising is, right? You're just in real time. It's kind of like somebody who just wants to talk to you just because they need to get their feelings out. It's exactly the same thing, just done through music instead of through the spoken word, right? That's what it's all about. That's the point of it. So, an actual example, like how would I actually physically play with a backing track or something? Well, let me try to think of an example that doesn't require two guitars. So okay, let's say I'm going to play with a backing track in the key of E major. And let me know if you can hear this
Yeah.
sound. You hear that? Okay. So if this is I can't physically play two tracks at once, right? I can't play something on the guitar and whatever the band would be playing in the background. And I don't want to play like chord melody because I specifically want to show you an example about using a scale. So what I'm going to do is just play an E note. I'm just going to play this note here. I'm just playing the open E note right here. And I'm going to try to keep that open E note going just so you can hear the sound of E as I play some scale notes. So don't pay attention to where I'm playing on the neck. That's not important. What I'm doing is I'm playing the E major scale. Okay. If this is my E sound, here's my scale. Those are notes in the E major scale. So if my backing track goes something like this, something like that, I'm going to try right now. I'm going to, just for example's sake, I'm going to try to play along something that sounds decent in the E major scale. But the point is, I'm just going to play the notes in the E major scale. So see how I'm joining into the conversation? We're just hearing that rhythm. We're hearing that E sound in the background, and I'm just using the notes in the scale. I played a wrong note there, so let me play it again. So any of those notes, I wasn't trying to play anything fancy. I'm just letting you hear the sounds of the notes in the scale. Any of those notes are fair game. So when you're playing along with a backing track, it's up to you to figure out, well, what sounds do I want to hear? What techniques can I use? Can I slide? Can I bend? Can I, as long as I hit those notes, it's going to sound decent. And then your job is to know which notes to hit at which time. And that's where the personal side comes in. That's where the personal style comes in. At that point, you are practicing your improvising. So that's how you play with a backing track.
Yeah, and a good point about backing tracks is we have a ton of them. So if you guys would navigate to the Breakthrough Guitar YouTube channel, we have over 100 backing tracks that we've been making for the last year and a half, 2 years. We release a new one every week in all different styles. We have everything from folk to heavy metal to pop to lo-fi to ambient sound, you know, strings and things. So yeah, if you want to check out some really great backing tracks, and we purposely do not tell you what chords or scale patterns. We do have the chords if you want those are available, but we don't tell you what scale patterns or scales to play or what modes to play in, because we really want you to kind of express what you're feeling with that instead of what we think you should be playing. So definitely check out the Breakthrough Guitar channel. And I feel like this is a really great moment. Hey, thanks so much for watching that video. That was just a short clip of one of our longer Q&A videos. If you're interested in watching some more of those videos, then I recommend you hit the subscribe button over here. It's really awesome. Also, we got more videos over here, so check some out if you're interested in learning more about Breakthrough Guitar or advancing your guitar skills. Peace.